I've thought of an idea about how addiction clouds everything. So, pretty much the concept of addiction, the idea of addiction, hides the real reasons as to why people do things. For example, say I want to PMO, right? I have the desire to PMO. Let's say I'm in that position, right? I haven't had these desires for ages. But let's say I'm in the position where I'm desiring PMO. If I interpret that desire as, oh, this is addiction, this is an urge, this is an urge, suddenly the real reason as to why I want to PMO becomes hidden. It's like you've hidden it under the ground. The concept of addiction, it fucking makes it disappear, right? So, here's the thing, and we think to ourselves, when we PMO, we're like, oh, I PMO because I was stressed. Oh, but that was just an excuse. That me being stressed, that was just an excuse. The real reason is addiction. It's the other way round, okay? You PMO because you're trying to relieve stress, and then you blame addiction. The addiction doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not actually a real thing. You only do things for reasons as to why you see value in them, right? But when you believe you're addicted, that clouds everything. Do you get what I'm saying? So basically, let's say I have a desire to PMO, right? I PMO. Afterwards, I'm like, fuck, I only PMO'd because as I was stressed. But I see that as addiction and not relieving stress. That reason of stress becomes buried. And the more you kind of do this and believe more and more in addiction, the more all of the reasons why you PMO just become buried underneath fucking ground. And then years later, there's thunder and lightning. Years later, right? You're in a position like how I was like last year, where you're essentially like, fuck, I don't know why I PMO anymore. It's just addiction, and that becomes really hopeless because now you're fighting addiction, but because addiction doesn't exist, you're fighting nothing. While the real reasons why you PMO are buried deep underneath the ground. You get it? Addiction, it fucking buries all your reasons, and the reasons are what actually motivate you. So it's kind of like what's actually motivating you is very obvious when you don't know about addiction. But as soon as you learn about addiction, now addiction becomes the thing in the forefront of your mind. Addiction is the thing to fight, not the reasons. The reasons go unchallenged. And because they go unchallenged, they continue to motivate you. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Fuck off that concept of addiction. And then as you start to not believe in addiction anymore, the reasons start to become a bit more apparent when you start to open your mind and start to look at them. Then you start to be honest with yourself, let go of all shame and guilt, and admit that you like PMO and admit the weird, wacky reasons as to why you like PMO. Oh, I like it because then I find the perfect clip, and the perfect clip is my key to happiness. Is it really? Is it actually the key to happiness? Is a porn-induced life where you're just PMOing all day, every day, is that actually a happy life? Think about it. And then when you start to challenge these things, you think, fuck, maybe it isn't. And when you think, fuck, maybe it isn't, now you're actually starting to change your desire. And now you really don't believe in addiction because now you've changed your desire slightly. You feel as though it's changed. Things are different now. And because things are different now, it's like, well, fucking hell, addiction doesn't exist, because if addiction did exist, then how would a simple process of me redeciding what I want and challenging myths make it even better, or even considering benefits? If addiction exists, then how does me thinking and reasoning have any impact? In NoFap world, the only way to reduce your urges is to abstain. But the thing is that it's hard to abstain because you have urges. It's ludicrous. Undo the urges first. If we lived in a world where urges were there and they were never going to go away and you couldn't do shit, well then maybe NoFap would make sense. Thank God we don't live in such a world, and the urges are actually just our desire, which is the result of the value we see in certain things and therefore the decisions that we make. No different to me wanting to stay indoors as opposed to go outside on a fucking rainy ass day like that. That's a rainy fucking day. I don't want to go out there. But maybe if I was David Goggins, I'd look at that rainy day and I'd think, man, I don't know how the fuck he talks. I realised I gotta get. I don't know how to fucking do his accent. I'm not going to try. I probably could if I tried. I'm not going to. Anyway, David Goggins would go outside in that fucking rain and he would run like a beast and he'd be happier doing that. It's dependent on perception. See, a guy like me, I'm too much of a pussy. I don't want to go in that fucking rain. I've got no reason to. If there was a guy dying at the bottom of my road and he was like, "Help me, Jay," maybe I'd fucking go and run and get after him. If it was a mouse dying at the end of the road, I probably wouldn't give a shit. Right? I'd feel sorry for the mouse, but what am I going to do? Do you get what I mean? Hope that helps. Read the freedom model. Do yourself a favour. I'll link it below. Free. Completely free. That's it.